Part 96. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 953. 951. Tang Qian felt guilty when his parents said this. Dad, Mom, I am responsible for the things I did by myself in the past. Tang Qian said, if I want to be with Jinmin, I also hope that my sincerity will impress Jinmin, not other things and factors. Mr. Tang was very pleased and said, okay, he is indeed my son. Son, will you be delayed by doing this? Ms. Tang asked worriedly, fearing that the daughter-in-law she had received would fly away. She would really regret it. She always wanted to do something for her son. Mom, it's my fault that I can't run away, and it shouldn't be that I can't force you to get it. Tang Qian said, I just work hard. He felt that there was a fate between him and Qi Jinmin, and he could grasp this relationship as long as he fought for it. Okay, let your son handle it by himself. Mr. Tang smiled. If he can't understand his own feelings and can't catch up with the woman he likes, it's because he has no ability and can't blame anyone. Okay, Xiaoxi, work hard. Ms. Tang encouraged, you have been smart since you were a child. You have corrected the stupid things you did before, and you will definitely be fine in the future. Yes, Mother. Tang Qian was confident. Qi Shuliang and Annie returned to He Tianxian's home. Qi Jinmin was a little worried and asked He Tiantian to express his feelings. Sister Tiantian, I've fallen in love with Tang Qian, and I'm worried that my parents won't agree. Qi Jinmin said worriedly, hey, although that happened in the past, those things were really stupid. Both parents value relationships and were very unhappy with some of Tang Qian's actions. He Tiantian twisted Qi Jinmin's arm and said angrily, you haven't even married Tang Qian yet, and you're already worried about him. Let me tell you, no matter who you are, you still have the same attitude towards Tang Qian, or even worse. That's bad. Uncle Qi, Auntie N, you are very restrained. Just talk about this in front of me. Don't do it, Uncle Qi, in front of Auntie N, so as not to make them feel that the daughter they have raised for more than 20 years has been given to others. Raised. He Qi Jinmin chuckled, Sister Tiantian, I will tell you in front of you. I know this is for my own good. Tang Qian was indeed a bastard before. Let him suffer a little, and he will cherish it in the future. Yes, if he doesn't even have this patience, it proves that this person is not good. He Tiantian said, besides, it was Tang Qian who did those things, and we did not accuse him unjustly. In this case, then we must only by being more sincere can we impress our parents. Anyway, you and Tang Qian can do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about what we do. Okay. Qi Jinmin smiled, it's good to have family members who care about him. She didn't understand before and thought it was bad for her parents to do this, but now she understands that this is all because of her family's love for her. He Tiantian thought for a while and said, Jinmin, even if you like Tang Qian very much, don't let Tang Qian feel that you like him more than he likes you. In this case, you can take the initiative. When it comes to feelings, sometimes it's very fantasy, the more you care about it, the less you can capture a man's heart. Qi Jinmin nodded and said, Sister Tiantian, I understand. That's good. He Tiantian smiled, you are so smart, how should you control your emotions and deal with various emotional matters in the future? Because he is in love, He Tiantian feels that Qi Jinmin is more mature than before. Early the next morning, Qi Shuliang, Annie, and Qi Jinmin returned to Nanxi together. Tang Qian originally wanted to go, but he thought that his future father-in-law and mother-in-law might not want to see him, so he did not go with him. Instead, he did some things in Yanjing. When his future father-in-law and mother-in-law returned to Yanjing, he said it in person and made some promises. Faced with Qi Jinmin's love affair, He Tiantian has always reserved her own thoughts. He Tiantian was very happy to learn from Qi Jinmin that Qi Zhengan and Zhang Mengmeng were getting better. Qi Zhengan can find someone she likes, and she can finally rest assured and doesn't have to feel guilty when facing Qi Zhengan. When Huo Yingzhi came home from get off work, he heard He Tian singing Nan Yiwan. Although this Nan Yiwan is a little out of tune, you can also feel He Tian's cheerful mood from the out of tune. "Why are you so happy?" Huo Yingzhi asked, "can you share it with me?" "Okay," He Tian smiled, "brother Qi and Zhang Mengmeng are about to get engaged." "Qi Zhengan and that student of yours?" Huo Yingzhi asked. He was very busy during this period. He didn't pay attention to these things. He didn't expect such good news. "That's fine, at least Qi Zhengan won't be thinking about his wife anymore." "Yes," He Tian smiled, "they are engaged. What kind of engagement gift should we give?" Huo Yingzhi thought for a while and said, "There's no rush. Think about it slowly." "Okay, I have to go to Huashan to find something with good meaning for me as their engagement gift." He Tian nodded and said, "Honey, what do you think?" "You can make the decision." Huo Yingzhi smiled, "By the way, are those formulas that grandma took away last time now on sale?" When He Tian heard Huo Yingzhi ask this, she felt even happier and said, "Production and sales have already started because we have done a lot of advertising and the effect is very good. It has achieved very good results in European countries and now it has started in North America. It's on the market. By the way, grandma also sent me some." "Then when will it be sold in China?" Huo Yingzhi asked, "now that the time has matured?" "Grandma has said that we will probably arrange domestic sales at the end of the year." He Tian said, "I am planning to register a cosmetics company in August and start organizing sales agents." "That's good." Huo Yingzhi said, "after you teach Wang Ying those things, let her be busy. Don't work too hard yourself." "I got it." He Tian smiled, "mainly to win over Zhou Yuanchao. By the way, the Zhou family didn't continue to come to help Chao, right?" "Haha," Huo Yingzhi sneered, "how could the Zhou family give up so easily?" After that, they went to Yuan Korea several times, but were rejected by Yuan Korea. One time, I happened to bump into me, and the Zhou family left in despair. Now Zhou Bing is bedridden and will die soon. Some other descendants of the Zhou family have dispersed to other places and can no longer become popular in Yanjing. That's good. Fortunately, Yuan Korea was able to carry it clearly, otherwise we would have lost a good friend." He Tian smiled, very pleased. Huo Yingzhi was not worried at all and said with a smile, "Yuan Chao is not a fool. How can he be kind to the person who once forced his grandmother to death? If he hadn't committed murder, he would have been sentenced to a felony. I guess Zhou Yuanchao wanted to deal with the Zhou family personally." "Yes, it's a bit bloody." He Tian praised, "Zhou's family was also trapped in a cocoon. They deserved their punishment and do not deserve sympathy. The couple share the same hatred." Recommended the counterattack of the cannon fodder daughter by Snow Fairy 01. Introduction: Zhou Gu'er, who has been a cannon fodder all her life, is reborn. Let's see how she, the cannon fodder adopted daughter, fights against the best, gets rich, and gains happiness. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 954. 952. It is the hottest time of the year again. The swimming pool at home is used, and He Tian swims in the water every morning, noon, and evening. It seems that in summer, she craves water more. At other times, as long as it is not frozen, there is always water in the swimming pool. Even if the children cannot come to swim, He Tian can. Even if the weather is cold and the temperature is very low, it can't stop He Tian from swimming and enjoying the comfort in the water. Huo Yingzhi always accompanies He Tian. As long as his wife likes it, he is happy. Qi Xiaoyan is now a teacher at Huaxia Conservatory of Music. She usually teaches classes. Now she is free. The weather is hot, so she comes to swim with her swimsuit. "Sister Tian, it's so refreshing." Qi Xiaoyan swam a circle and came out of the water. "I can't come here during classes. I can only come here on weekends. He Tian smiled and said, yes, swimming in summer is very refreshing. Sister Tian, let's compete later to see who swims faster. Chi Xiao Yan smiled, took a few sips of the juice on the side, and wanted to compete with He Tian in swimming. You've never beaten me. He Tian smiled, let's not compete. No, let's compete. Chi Xiao Yan insisted, use full speed, let me see it too. I heard from Wang Ying that you swim very fast, I haven't seen it yet. Haha, He Tian smiled, no wonder you want to compete with me. Okay, you take a rest first. As he was talking, Zhang Wenwen, Wang Ying, and Yuan Hua came one after another, bringing swimsuits and coming to swim. You have agreed to come to my house to swim on the weekend. He Tian smiled, there are so many people, I have to charge admission. Okay, monthly or annual subscription. Zhang Wenwen smiled, no matter how much money, I won't give it. Zhang Wenwen wrinkled her nose, looking like a rogue. I won't give it to you either, Yunhua said with a smile, I believe the teacher would be too embarrassed to ask me for it. He Tian saw these bad friends, shook her head and laughed, and said, who of you will compete with me in swimming today? You can take turns, let's swim 1000 meters, and whoever loses will treat me. Okay, Chi Xiao Yan agreed, let's go out for lunch today. As for the children, leave them all at home and let them play by themselves. Then you should do some warm-up exercises first, He Tian said with a smile. The four of them only need to swim back and forth 4 times, but she has to swim back and forth 16 times. Even so, the 4 of them have never beaten her. After the warm-up exercises were done, He Tian also stood to the side. Ready to start, Chi Xiao Yan shouted on the side, and He Tian and Zhang Wenwen jumped into the water. Although they started at the same time, it was obvious that He Tian jumped quickly, entered the water quickly, put her legs together, slapped the water, and swam forward. As for Zhang Wenwen, her movements were not as smooth as He Tian's, but they were not slow either. He Tian didn't use all her strength, but swam slowly, leaving a body length ahead of Zhang Wenwen. After 2 rounds, He Tian still kept a body length ahead. The next one was Yunhua. Yunhua grew up in a place with lush water and grass, and there were many rivers in his home. He knew how to swim since he was a child. Although he was a wild boy, his long arms and legs splashed the water, and his speed was faster than Zhang Wenwen. He Tian slightly increased her speed, but still kept a body length away. The third one was Wang Ying, and the fourth one was Chi Xiao Yan. He Tian kept this distance, but in the last round, she increased her speed, like a dragon crossing the river, shuttling through the water. In just a few blinks of an eye, He Tian had reached the end. Haha, how is it? He Tian was proud, I won again this time, right? Chi Xiao Yan curled her lips and smiled, saying, okay, even if you win, I'll treat you today. What do you mean I won? I won anyway. He Tian smiled proudly, you should accept the defeat if you are willing to bet. Yuan Hua smiled, drank the juice, and said with a smile, teacher I watched a swimming competition in Nanxi before, and I don't think I swam as fast as you. Since you like swimming, why don't you become an athlete? He Tian was stunned and smiled awkwardly, I am a mother of 3 children, how can I have time to be an athlete? Chi Xiao Yan listened and asked, Sister Tian, do you like swimming? Yes, He Tian nodded, I like it very much. Then why don't you participate in swimming competitions? Chi Xiao Yan said, maybe you can really become a swimmer. Haha, I like swimming, but it's not that easy to become a swimmer. I'm so old. He Tian smiled bitterly. She had also imagined that she could become a swimmer before because she liked water too much. The swimming pool at home is a little small, so she can't swim as much as she wants. Sister Tian, I was still a music teacher in elementary school at that time, but I was unwilling to do so. I didn't have the courage to come to Yanjing. It was you who encouraged me and supported Daejin's career, so I was able to be admitted to Yanjing's music school, become a singer, and have the opportunity to become a teacher at the highest music school in China. If I don't try, I will never know if I can do it. Yes, yes, Jiang Wenwen echoed again and again, cousin, if it weren't for your encouragement, I wouldn't dare to try fashion design, and I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. I would only be a high school art teacher who follows the rules. You swim so well and have talent, why don't you try it? Yuan Hua came over and hugged him gently. Teacher, I also remember when you encouraged the students of our class that if we don't try, we will never succeed, but if we try, and with our efforts, maybe we will succeed. You like it now, why don't you try it? Tian smiled and said, okay, I've written it down and will consider it. Let's go have dinner. Xiao Yan, you treat me. When the children were playing at home, Tian asked someone to lock the yard where the swimming pool was located so that the children could not sneak away and swim there. Lu Wangxia helps with cooking at home and the children are not hungry, so they can leave without worries and go out to play. Qi Xiao Yan went to a northeastern restaurant for a treat. During the meal, several people persuaded Tian together. Tian once again promised that she would consider it carefully. After eating and drinking, Jiang Wenwen and Yuan Hua went home respectively. Qi Xiaoyan and Wang Ying were at Tian's house with their children, so they went back together. Tian had been thinking about this issue at night, but what stood in front of her was not only her age, but also her family and children. Although the youngest child is 1 year old and has been weaned, Tian is reluctant to leave her child to participate in the competition. As for liking swimming, just think of it as a silent liking. The cat chewing on the can future rune refiner, Hui drew a formation and actually summoned the ancestor. What should I do? Waiting online. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 955. Tian keeps this love in her heart. In her mind, her current life is hard won and she should cherish it. This is life. If you give up, you will gain. She is not a Superman and cannot cover everything, so cherishing the present is the most realistic thing. Tian persuaded herself over and over again, and apparently the persuasion was successful, and she never mentioned it again. Huo Yingjia now has half a month's vacation, and Tian decided to take her children and Huo Yingjia to Qijia village. Tian hasn't seen Grandma Chi-san for a long time and misses her very much. Even in summer, Qijia village is very cool as long as you are under the shade of trees. Grandma Chi-san's yard is lined with green trees. I heard that Tian was coming. Qi Jinmin and Tang Qian were also here to meet Grandma Chi-san. Tang Qian knew about the Qi family's Dingai Shenzhen, Grandma Chi-san. As long as he gets the approval of Grandma Chi-san, his marriage to Qi Jinmin will probably be smoother. Grandma Chi-san already knew about Tang Qian's existence from her son and daughter-in-law, and privately asked Tian about Tang Qian's personality. Tian did not comment on Tang Qian's character, but told Tang Qian's story. From Tian's gorgeousness, Grandma Chi-san could already guess what kind of person Tang Qian was. Grandma Chi-san didn't speak, but her sharp eyes made Tang Qian feel on pins and needles. Tang Qian couldn't stand it anymore and asked cautiously, Grandma, if you have anything to say, just say it. I will definitely listen. Seeing that Tang Qian had a good attitude, Grandma Chi-san's eyes became less sharp. Haha, sit down, Grandma Chi-san said, since you are here, it proves that you really want to be good to my granddaughter. I won't let you come here in vain, and I will definitely give you a good time. Happy. Tang Qian was nervous. I hope it will be a happy agreement rather than a happy breakup. Grandma, Tell me. Tang Qian was worried. Grandma Chi-san smiled and looked very kind, but Tang Qian did not dare to take it lightly and said, Tang Qian, what is the most important thing to you? Tang Qian thought for a while and said, family, career. Yeah, okay. Grandma Chi-san nodded, very honestly, which is more important, career or my granddaughter? Everything is important, Tang Qian replied. This old lady is difficult to deal with. Do you have to tell the difference? Grandma Chi-san asked, her eyes continuing to look at Tang Qian. Tang Qian was stunned for a moment, then immediately replied, of course Jinmin is important. Yes, very good. Grandma Chi-san smiled kindly, I am an elder, and I will rely on my old age to talk about you and Jinmin today. Grandma, tell me. Tang Qian was very respectful. Whether he can embrace the beauty or not depends on the old lady's attitude. Grandma Chi-san smiled and said, I already know your situation. In view of your past affairs, you must pay some collateral to make us believe that you are sincere. In my case, sincerity has never been just words. But it depends on how to do it. I won't let you suffer. If you say that Jinmin is more important than your career, then put all your career in Jinmin's name. No matter what industry it is, it will be in Jinmin's name from now on. Next. Are you willing? Chi Jinmin was stunned when he heard this. He didn't expect his grandmother to say that. This is a bit excessive. Grandma, Chi Jinmin was anxious beside him. Tang Qian would think that she was interested in his money. Now is not the time for you to talk, be quiet. Grandma Chi-san smiled, patted Chi Jinmin on the head, and then continued to look at Tang Qian. Tang Qian wiped sweat from his forehead after hearing this. This old lady is really sharp. Grandma, I didn't get along with Jinmin because of the Chi family's money, Tang Qian explained, thinking that Grandma Chi-san was testing him. Haha, Grandma Chi-san smiled, the Chi family, are not interested in your money. If you didn't have what happened before, I would never say this. There is a saying in each country, if there is one, there are two. I can't believe it for the moment. So you have to take out what you value most as collateral. You have said that Jinmin is more important than your career, so you still make money by doing this. Tang Qian really loved Chi Jinmin. Although he was a little reluctant to put all his hard-earned career in Chi Jinmin's name, he thought that as long as the two of them were doing well, it would still belong to his family. Okay, I am willing, Tang Qian said, my property and income will all be placed in Jinmin's name. Chi Jinmin was stunned and couldn't believe his ears. Such a thing is simply impossible to happen abroad. Tang Qian, do you know what you said? Chi Jinmin said in surprise, if you do this, it is very likely that all your hard-earned money will be mine. If you become my wife, so what if I give it to you? Tang Qian smiled. He now understood Grandma Chi-san's intentions and admired the old man even more. Chi Jinmin is a kind-hearted woman and the woman he likes. As long as he doesn't mess around outside, Chi Jinmin will not give up this relationship. Grandma Chi-san listened and said with a smile, you agree, does your family agree? My parents like Jinmin very much, and they will agree, Tang Qian said with a smile, money is an external thing. If you don't have money, you can earn it, but if you don't have anyone, that would be a great pity. Okay, I believe you for the time being. Grandma Chi-san smiled, okay, when you leave, I will have someone sort out an agreement. You still have a few days to think about it, so don't be in a hurry. Yes, Grandma. Tang Qian smiled, remembering what Huo Yingzhe once said before, it would be easier to get things done if you exchange your own important things. Besides his family, Tang Qian believes that his most important thing is his career. Then using his own business as collateral should give him more credit. Hey, there's nothing I can do about it, I have too many criminal records and a bad record. In order to win the beauty back, Tang Qian risked his life. He Tiantian didn't know about this because she went to work in the back mountain with Huo Yingjia and took her children to play in the back mountain. When he came back in the evening, Qi Zhenmin secretly told He Tiantian the whole story. He Tiantian was dumbfounded. Grandma is so powerful. He Tiantian was proud. Grandma did the right thing, so she should let Tang Qian pay some mortgage. Qi Zhenmin frowned, a little embarrassed, and said, Sister Tiantian, don't you think this is bad? It may not be good for others, but for Tang Qian, it should be done like this. Who made him so unruly before? He Tiantian said, if he doesn't change his nature, let him purify himself household. From now on, the company, money, and children will not belong to him. Ah, Qi Zhenmin was frightened. Can it still be like this? Why can't it be like this? He Tiantian asked. As long as Tang Qian is doing well, we still don't care about his career. As for his money, it will all belong to you, Tang Qian, and your children. This. Qi Zhenmin's education and the environment in which she grew up made her a little confused. Stop it, He Tiantian smiled. Tell me, if Tang Qian had always been good, would you have left him? Recommend my friend Xianqi's The Reborn movie Queen's Little Army Wife. If you raise a loyal dog well, your waist will be broken if you are tired. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 956. 954. Qi Zhenmin thought about it seriously, shook his head, and said, I like him very much. If I love him, I probably won't. She is a woman who treats her feelings very cautiously. The unrestrainedness she showed before was just superficial, not that she was really unrestrained. That's okay, He Tiantian said, you silly girl, don't be embarrassed. Then Tang Qian agreed so readily because he knew the result. For this relationship, the focus of marriage is on him. As long as his careers are still his, and so are you. Okay, Qi Zhenmin suddenly felt that what He Tiantian said made sense. Since the elders in the family had said so, she also agreed. The last time my father and mother left, they didn't think of this method and were still worried about her. After dinner in the evening, Qi Zhenmin looked at Tang Qian, and then looked outside. Tang Qian understood, greeted everyone, and left one after another with Qi Zhenmin. He Tiantian looked at Grandma Qi San and whispered, Grandma is mighty. Haha, it's a trivial matter. Grandma Qi San smiled proudly. Her son and daughter-in-law were still worried before they left. Nothing to worry about. She's not worried. I immediately thought of this method. But she didn't tell anyone else. Instead, she was the only one who knew and waited for Tang Qian to come over and tell him in person. Anyway, she is old and has no taboos. She can say anything. For the sake of her granddaughter, she unreasonably relies on her old age. Huo Yingjia smiled, the old and the young, smiling like foxes. In fact, Tang Qian is also a fox. We are all smart people, so this matter can go smoothly. Speaking of Qi Zhenmin, Tang Qian came outside together and took a walk along the country road. Tang Qian, do you think what your grandmother said is too much? Qi Zhenmin asked. Although Tang Qian agreed, she didn't want Tang Qian to force it and affect their relationship. Tang Qian smiled and said, it's not too much. Thinking from her perspective, I understand what my grandmother said. Really? Qi Zhenmin was dubious. It's true, Tang Qian said, I won't lie to you. Well, since you have such a good attitude, I will add a clause to the agreement, which is also binding on me and will not let you suffer. Qi Zhenmin smiled, after nearly 2 years of getting along, we understand each other, and I hope we can be loyal to each other, just like Sister Tiantian and Huo Yingjia, who love each other deeply, love their children deeply, and be filial to our elders together. Okay, I hope so too. Our goals are the same. Tang Qian took Qi Zhenmin's hand, let's work hard together. Qi Zhenmin was very happy, and his eyes were a little sore. She admitted that she was moved. After Tang Qian talked with Grandma Qi-san, he suddenly became enlightened and relaxed a lot. If you pay, you will get. If you give up, you will gain. Tang Qian kept these words in mind. Now that he has been recognized by the Qi family, his marriage to Qi Jinmin can probably be finalized. Under the moonlight, Tang Qian looked at Qi Jinmin's beauty, gently hugged Qi Jinmin and kissed her. Just one idea now. Get married quickly. Have a baby quickly. Friends who are about the same age as him all have children. When Tang Qian heard these words before, he felt that his parents were very nagging, but now that he is older, he understands his parents' thoughts and becomes a little more urgent. Everyone was enjoying the cool air in the yard. Tian took out a big watermelon and was cutting it on the table. At this time, Qi Jinmin and Tang Qian came in holding hands. Everyone looked at each other and smiled. Only true feelings will not be affected by Grandma Qi-san's words. As long as Tang Qian and Qi Jinmin are sincere, they will be even happier. After all, Grandma Qi-san said these words to test Tang Qian, not because she was really interested in their money. Jinmin, Tang Qian, come over and eat watermelon. Tian smiled and said, there are so many mosquitoes outside, you are not afraid of mosquito bites. Qi Jinmin's face turned slightly red and he said, Sister Tian, hurry up and cut the watermelon. It's really bad. Haha. Tian smiled, okay, let's eat watermelon. They say girls are outgoing. I didn't believe it before, but now I do. Please, Sister Tian, please stop talking about me. Qi Jinmin walked up to Tian and muttered in a low voice, little sister, I'll get up early tomorrow and accompany you to the market. That's okay. Tisk, tisk. Tian took advantage of her and acted obediently. She shook her head, it's better not to force it. You should be very busy and don't like to rush to the morning market. I like it just to accompany Sister Tian. I like it too, Qi Jinmin said quickly, I will take all the things tomorrow, so that's okay. Since you are so enthusiastic, I will reluctantly accept it. Tian smiled, because it was very early in the morning and Huo Yingja had to take care of the children at home, so Tian could only take Qi Jinmin with her. Tomorrow is Grandpa Qi's birthday. Tian wanted to celebrate his birthday, so he decided to get up early, buy some fresh things, and cook a big meal. Qi Jinmin's expression was angry, but Tian ignored it and was complacent. Everyone knew that Tian and Qi Jinmin were joking and didn't take it to heart. However, Tang Qian decided to get up early tomorrow and follow him to help get things, so that Qi Jinmin would not be tired. In the evening, Tian was writing the menu. Huo Yingja put the child to sleep, walked behind Tian and said, have you not written it yet? It's almost there, there are still 2 dishes left. Tian said, wait for me for 3 minutes. Okay, Huo Yingja smiled and stood aside, looking at the moon outside the window, thinking of the scenes in Kijia village. It turns out that there are many memories of him and Tian here. This is the place where Tian spent her 2 lifetimes of youth. It's no wonder she can't let go of this place. Especially in this life, Tian cherishes it very much. Huo Yingja knew that due to the nature of his work, it would be difficult for Tian to go abroad, so Huo Yingja tried his best to take vacations and accompany Tian around as compensation. However, Tian didn't care about the scenery. In her heart, she cared more about the people. Because there were people, the scenery was beautiful, so the first place they traveled was Kijia village. If nothing else, the second location is Nanji. After Tian finished writing, she saw Huo Yingja standing leaning against the window and looking out the window. What are you thinking about? Tian asked, you were in a trance just now. Huo Yingja stretched out his long hand, hugged Tian, and said softly, thinking about the time we spent in Kijia village, it is always so warm. Even if there are some setbacks, it is still worth missing. Yes, I often think of the past, especially when I came to Kijia village. I like it here even more. He Tian Tian smiled and hugged Huo Yingjia's waist. Here is my new life and our new beginning. I recommend 11 Zhen's new book Rebirth of a Beautiful Life in the 1970s. Introduction: a soft girl from ancient times travels to the 1970s, and she works together with a rough man and his wife, and they use their strength to cut off the gold, and perform a beautiful new life in a down-to-earth manner. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 957. 955. Only at this time, Huo Yingjia would silently thank the little snake. Without that little spiritual snake, he didn't know when he and He Tian Tian would be reunited. But in return, he has given the little spirit snake some secret techniques, so that the proud little spirit snake can run rampant in the demon world. That's great, Huo Yingjia said softly. Okay, you have to get up early tomorrow, let's go to bed early. Thinking of the craziness and intensity in the back mountain last night, Huo Yingjia was very satisfied and wanted to come again. However, he thought that He Tian Tian would have to get up early to buy things and prepare a banquet tomorrow. It would be very hard, so he would not stop making trouble with He Tian Tian. Well, let's rest early, He Tian Tian said coquettishly. Hug me. Okay. Huo Yingjia bent down slightly, hugged the princess gently, and walked around the room. Haha, He Tian Tian snickered. Okay, stop making trouble. Even if two people have been married for a long time, He Tian Tian will still be as coquettish and arrogant as before in private, as a matter of love between the two of them in private. Not only He Tian Tian is like this, Huo Yingjia doesn't talk much in front of outsiders, and he is more serious and cold-hearted. But when there are only two of them, Huo Yingjia is domineering, passionate, crazy, and arrogant. The relationship between the two has not faded with the passage of time, but has become more and more passionate. He Tian Tian understood that it would be better for her to be a pampered woman, looking up to her man, but instead she was held in the palm of her beloved man's hand. That's enough. In the dream, He Tian Tian was running in the mountains behind the flowers, followed by Huo Yingjia, leaving behind their laughter and their harvest in the mountain stream. Mountain peaks, green trees, and flowers all seemed to be witnesses of their love. Finally, the scene turned to a mountain peak high into the clouds, covered with white snow and fluttering snowflakes. A woman in red is dancing gracefully on the snowy peak, her clothes are fluttering, she is as graceful as a giant, and she is graceful. The eyebrows are full of affection. On another mountain peak not far away, an extremely handsome man in black was playing the cave flute with a warm face. His voice was distant and desolate, but because of the person opposite, the flute sound was filled with joy and friendship. Dance, graceful. The sound of flute, warmth. The beauty is as beautiful as a picture, and the sound of the flute is like a complaint. The love lasts forever. As soon as the scene turned, the man in black left with his sword on his back. His whole body was filled with surging fighting spirit, and his long hair drew sharp edges in the air. The woman in red behind her stretched out her hand to grab the man who was leaving, but he was already gone, leaving only 2 lines of clear tears. There were only wisps of cold wind between the two of them. Desolate and a bit sad. The woman in red's eyes were fascinated by tears, and she couldn't see clearly the distant figure. She hurriedly wiped away her tears, but the figure that made her miss her dearly was gone. He's gone. Gone for his duty. But what should she do? I can't keep her, I can only keep her in my heart, forever, forever. A scene came to mind. The woman was still dressed in red, but it was no longer a dance dress with fluttering sleeves, but a dignified and luxurious wedding dress. The people around were smiling, and there was an endless stream of congratulatory guests coming and going. In stark contrast to all the beaming people, the woman under the red hijab had 2 lines of clear tears, which washed away the red makeup on her face, leaving 2 lines of marks on her face. Even in her dream, He Tian could feel this woman's sadness, and deep longing. The woman muttered to herself. He died. The woman immediately shook her head, as if she didn't believe it. He said he was coming to marry her. Will definitely come back. But the sound of drum music came to her ears, which made the woman lose her mind and feel a little shaken. Will he come again? Can he still make it? In this life, she just wants to be with him and dance for him on the top of the snow-capped mountains. A man married in person, and the woman sat on the sedan chair while crying. He still broke his promise. The woman couldn't bear to hate him, she could only hate herself for not being able to resist all this. But she firmly believed that if he didn't come, maybe he was really dead. Now that he is dead, she doesn't want to live alone in the world. He had been alone for so many years, and she couldn't bear to let him continue to be alone, so even if he died, she would stay with him. She heard a poem from a human before and it stuck in her heart. Since the king came out, who can see the treasured mirror? I miss you like the long river, and I often hear the sound of whimpering. During the ceremony, the groom turned into the thousand-eyed demon king. A black energy filled the entire hall, followed by a burst of arrogant laughter. You have angered me, and you will all die, a deafening voice lingered in everyone's ears. The people in the hall and the courtyard were all weak because of the black energy. They could only look at the tall man not far away in horror. Oh my God, it's actually the thousand-eyed demon king, oh yeah. This rare genius from the devil world. The woman didn't resist and lay quietly on the ground. She was going to die anyway and she didn't care how she died. The thousand-eyed demon king went on a killing spree, and each immortal became the dead soul of his men. These dead souls, after being corroded by black, also dissipated between heaven and earth without a trace. Today is the day you die, a man floated over, let the others go, let's duel. Haha, your sweetheart was robbed by me, and you still turn to them, you are so kind and righteous. Ha 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 ha. The man laughed arrogantly. Chanling, you are a coward, a complete coward, you can't even protect your own woman, I despise you. The thousand-eyed demon lord continued to kill as if he was crazy. The long sword behind Chanling God came out of its shell, and sword rays pierced the thousand-eyed demon lord. The black energy in the hall gradually dissipated under the golden sword rays. The woman in red who was lying on the ground heard the man's voice and used all her strength to lift the red hijab on her head and look at the person who had made her miss her so much. He came. She knew he was coming. The man's eyes fell on the woman in red, with a hint of sadness on his face. This dazzling red dress is so annoying. But everything will wait until the thousand-eyed demon king is killed. However, the thousand-eyed demon lord obtained a rare treasure and his skills greatly increased. In the past, Chanling was slightly better than the thousand-eyed demon king, but now the two are equally matched. Seeing that he was about to fall into a disadvantage, the thousand-eyed demon lord sacrificed his magic weapon, the thousand-eyed heavenly mirror, and for a time the sky was filled with shining silver eyes. Chanling was so stung by the silver light that he couldn't open his eyes. He didn't notice a magic spell approaching quickly. Everyone was secretly frightened. The Kinchi demon sword comes out and kills everything. The only one who could compete with the thousand-eyed demon lord, the Chanling god, was immediately exterminated. Masters exchange moves, up and down in just the blink of an eye. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 958. 956. Just when everyone was lamenting the fall of God Chanling, a big red figure stood in front of God Chanling at the critical moment. You're here, Chanling. Although the woman was stabbed in the back, there was no pain in her eyes, only love for her lover. Yunur, God Changling exclaimed, his eyes red, you are so stupid. You are, okay. After the woman in red finished speaking, her body was refined by the sharpening knife and turned into a ball of red blood mist. The tears in the corners of his eyes turned into blood and scattered in the air. The eyes of the Changling god were red, and he roared, Yunur. I wanted to reach out and grab it, but Yunur had already disappeared into ashes. Haha, Changling, you must be feeling pain too. Thousand-eyed demon lord laughed loudly, but tears also flowed from the corners of his eyes. I can't get it, and I won't let you get it. Death, Changling lord burned all the energy in his body, slowly raised his hand, turned it into a sword, and slowly slashed at the thousand-eyed demon lord. The thousand-eyed demon lord had already consumed a lot of demonic energy with his sword just now, and he had no ability to withstand the blow from Changling god. Under the gaze of everyone, all the eyes of the thousand-eyed demon lord disappeared. With the second knife, the thousand-eyed demon king, who had lost half of his energy, was cut into two pieces. The thousand-eyed demon lord was surrounded by a ball of golden sword energy, eating away at the black energy until it was completely swallowed up. The thousand-eyed demon lord disappeared into ashes. The god of Changling staggered a few steps and picked up a zeoflower hairpin on the ground. He made it with his own hands. However, the hairpin is there, but the cloud is gone. Just when Changling was disheartened, he discovered that there was a drop of Yunus blood on Zhuhua's hairpin. Thinking of this, Changling god took the hairpin and left. I didn't hear the pleas from those behind me to stay. As long as there is a drop of blood, Yunur will come back one day. This time, he must wait for her. In the bleak cold wind, the slender and lonely figure has been waiting and searching. Finally, he found the perfect place. On the top of the snow-capped mountains, he drilled a hole in the top of the mountain with his sword, and waited endlessly for 1 year, 2 years, with the precious feather flower hairpin. Finally, when the opportunity came, Changling god used most of his power to send a drop of blood essence into the avenue of reincarnation. In this way, she can be reincarnated. Even if he travels across thousands of mountains and rivers, he still has to find Yunur. He gave up everything and kept walking between heaven and earth, using the simplest walk in the world, to look for traces of Yunur. Whenever colorful clouds appear, he will find a place to play the flute facing the glow, and look under the glow in a psychedelic manner, hoping to see the figure that haunts him in the glow. With good luck and God's mercy, he can really see the woman's voice, face, and smile. However, whenever he can't distinguish between reality and dreams, and reaches out to grab it, he only catches the void. Wisps of colorful clouds passed through the fingers, but she was alone. Traveling through the joys and sorrows of the world of mortals. Wandering with your thoughtfulness. Pierce the green mountains and desolation all over the field. Your dreams fly with the fragrance of flowers. This life is crazy because of you. This love is unparalleled in the world. The shadow of the sword and the ripples of the water. It's just that the past is the past. This life is crazy because of you. This love is unparalleled in the world. If there are still thoughtful wanderers. Withered, the face is hard to forget. Fortunately, I still have her singing voice in my ears. Always stay with him. He Tian was like an outsider, watching the scenes, moved by their love, and sad that they couldn't be together. Wuo. He Tian cried in her sleep. Huo Yingzhe was awakened by He Tianatian's sobbing. He turned on the light and saw that He Tianatian's face was full of tears, but he did not wake up, but cried because of the dream. What did she dream about that made her cry? Was he there in the dream? Tian, wake up. Huo Yingzhe gently shook He Tian. He wanted to ask, what kind of dream made her cry so bitterly? He Tian woke up in a daze, her nasal voice a bit thick. What's wrong with me? Why did you call me? Huo Yingzhi stretched out his hand to help He Tiantian wipe away her tears and whispered, "What did you dream about? You cried so sadly that it scared me." He Tiantian was stunned for a moment, and then thought of a dream. So clear, so true. I, I dreamed about Changling God, He Tiantian murmured to himself, and looked up at Huo Yingzhi. The man in front of him overlapped with the man in the dream, but they were separated. There are similarities, but there are also differences. Oh, Huo Yingzhi was surprised. Can you tell me about it? He Tiantian nodded and said, okay, I dreamed of a woman in red named Yunar dancing on the top of the snow mountain. After He Tiantian finished speaking, he raised his head to look at Huo Yingzhi. He Tiantian was stunned. Because Huo Yingzhi had tears in his eyes. Brother Yingzhi, what's wrong with you? He Tiantian asked, and immediately thought of what Huo Yingzhi had said before. Is this what happened back then? Yes, I regret it, Huo Yingzhi said. It took us 3 lives to get together. The master did not lie to him. He waited. He Tiantian put her hands around Huo Yingzhi's neck, kissed his tears gently, and said, it's all over. We are together and so happy. Your hard pursuit and my hard waiting have paid off. Although the process is a bit complicated, the result is good, isn't it? Yes, we are finally together, Huo Yingzhi said. Great. The two hugged each other, feeling each other's warmth, instead of being in a dream. In a daze, Qi Zhenmin's voice came from outside, Sister Tiantian, why don't you get up? Aren't you going to the morning market? He Tiantian got up quickly after hearing the voice. So early, Huo Yingzhi looked at the time. It was only 4 o'clock in the morning and it was gray outside. You stay at home to look after the children. I'll go out to buy things, He Tiantian said softly. Thank you for your hard work, moi. He Tiantian kissed Huo Yingzhi on the face like she was coaxing a child, put on her clothes, took her wallet, and came out of the house. After a simple wash, she followed Qi Zhenmin to the morning market. Zhang Ning followed to protect He Tianatian's safety. You can actually get up so early, He Tiantian smiled. The power of love is really great. Qi Zhenmin was about to refute when he heard hurried footsteps from behind. He turned around and saw Tang Qian following him. It's so early, why don't you sleep a little longer? Qi Zhenmin asked. It was indeed too early now. I'll go get your things, Tang Qian smiled, not caring about He Tianatian's teasing eyes, and smiled gently at Qi Zhenmin. The Poison Queen Strategy by Yao Xiaowu Zy. Introduction. What if the scumbag is the emperor? He will still torture you to doubt your life. The lyrics in this chapter are excerpted from Zhang Liangying's The World is Unparalleled, a very nice song, which feels like it can travel through time and space. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 959. 957. Seeing the two of them talking and laughing, He Tiantian felt like a big light bulb. But He Tiantian didn't care, she just wanted to make a light bulb, and it was bright, so bright that they didn't dare to get tired of the big crooked light bulb. Soon he walked to the market, and He Tiantian prepared fresh vegetables, fresh chicken, duck, fish, and ribs. I was lucky today, someone came to sell mutton. He Tiantian bought 6 pounds of lamb chops and planned to make cumin lamb chops. Qi Zhenmin saw that the baskets in her and Tang Qian's hands were already full, and she was following behind carrying things tied with straw. Sister Tiantian, are you okay? Qi Zhenmin asked. There are so many things, enough for us to eat today. Haha, it would be enough in normal times, but not now, He Tiantian said. Today not only do we have to eat for ourselves, but we also have to invite the elders in the village and the people we are friends with, so we have 3 tables. Tang Qian, if you can't carry it, you can take it home first and come back later to pick it up. Tang Qian smiled and said, if you can handle it, you can continue to choose. When selling eggs, He Tiantian also bought other people's baskets, so Tang Jian had an extra basket in his hand and could only send the things home first. Tang Jian did the math and prepared 3 tables of things that could not be accommodated in just a few baskets. When he was sending the things back, he picked up a wheelbarrow from the village. When Qi Zhenmin saw Tang Jian pushing the cart over, he smiled and said, "You are quite smart, you know how to find the cart. There are a lot of things for the 3-table banquet. I'll probably have to make several trips to deliver things back home." Tang Jian said with a smile, "Tian, this car can probably fit it all." "It's barely enough." Tian smiled and said, "Hurry up and buy 3 big fish and put them on it." "I bought almost everything on the list." When encountering some vegetables that are not on the list, Tian will also buy some temporarily. "Sister Tian, is that enough this time?" Qi Zhenmin asked carefully as he looked at Tang Jian pushing the full cart. "With so many items, it can be used as a banquet for 3 tables." Tian looked at it, nodded and said, "Okay, let's go back." When he walked to the street and saw a watermelon seller, Tian bought 4 more large watermelons. It can be made into a fruit platter at a banquet, or it can be chilled and eaten together. Back home, Grandma Chi-san and Grandpa Chi were doing morning exercises together. When they saw Tang Jian pushing a cart full of things, they asked in surprise, "Tian, how much do you want to do?" 3 tables, Tian replied. "Let's celebrate Grandpa Chi's birthday well and invite the elders in the village who are close to us to come over for a drink." "Okay, it's time for the excitement." Grandma Chi-san smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work." Qi Zhenmin smiled and said, "Grandma, it's not hard at all." At this time, Huo Yingji jumped out of the house with his children and looked at the 3-day-old fish in the big basin, which was still alive. Huo Ruimin was about to tease the big fish with his hands, but Tian stopped him and said, "Ruimin, that fish is very fierce. What if it bites your finger?" Huo Ruimin retracted her finger and said, "Then I won't play anymore." At this time, Huo Ruwa ran to the kitchen, found 2 small wooden strips, and said, "Here." Qi Zhenmin and Tang Jian were stunned, and then they realized that Huo Ruwa, who was usually silent, was just as full of evil ideas as his father. "Yes, even if the fish bites, it will only bite the stick." Huo Ruimin smiled, "Brother, you are so smart." Huo Ruwa smiled shyly. However, such a shy smile may be deceptive to those who are unfamiliar with it, but no one who witnessed the scene just now will be deceived. This Huo Ruwa is so good at pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger. "Hey, Yingji, with this son, your family will have a successor for the next generation," Tang Jian said. After all the merits of the big family, he saw more and thought more. Huo Yingji held his youngest son in his arms and was feeding the child milk powder. He smiled and said, "Thank you for the compliment, my 4th uncle. It's time for you to work hard. Don't wait for my Grue to run away plumply. You are not married yet." Tang Jian was envious and said with emotion, "We should work hard. I hope we can achieve a breakthrough this time." "It should be possible." Huo Yingji smiled, "If you are willing to give up, you will get something." "Haha, I understand." Tang Jian smiled bitterly, "I went too far before, so the Qi family didn't believe me, which was normal. If it were me, I wouldn't believe what others said with empty teeth, so I'm willing to exchange for what I think is the most important thing." Huo Yingji looked at Tang Jian's serious expression and said, "You will get your wish." "I also hope that my wish will come true as soon as possible." Tang Jian said with a smile, "Is this kid full? Come on, give me a hug." Huo Yingji woke up in the morning and hadn't washed his face yet. "Thank you, Uncle." Huo Yingji took the bottle and gave Huo Rufeng to Tang Jian to hold. Huo Rufeng ate and drank enough, humming happily. He didn't care who was holding him. He saw his brothers and sisters playing and said to them, "Ah, ah, ah." 2 hands were waving in the air, and their calves were kicking. When Tang Jian saw this, he hugged Huo Rufeng and came over to take a look. It turned out that Huoruiman and Huoruwa were poking the three big fish with small wooden sticks. Huorufeng struggled to get down, and he wanted to play too. Tang Qian had no choice but to squat down. The boy Huorufeng in his arms was so fierce that he actually wanted to dive into the water. Xiaosan, the big fish will bite, Huoruiman reminded her when she saw her younger brother being naughty. Huorufeng is a little kid. What does he know? He just thinks it's fun. Ah. Reply to your sister in Martian language. Huoruwa gave the small wooden stick in his hand to his younger brother and said, you can hold the wooden stick, not with your hands. Huorufeng is young and doesn't understand these things, but he can imitate them. He just saw his brother and sister poking in the basin with wooden sticks, and he did the same, papa, and kept slapping the water surface, which shocked the fish in the big basin to swim. Swimming back and forth, the wooden sticks also brought up a lot of water, which splashed on everyone. Upon seeing this, Tang Qian quickly took Huorufeng away. You boy, you have very strong hands, Tang Qian said with a smile, you will be a naughty one from now on. Huorufeng still held the small wooden stick tightly in his hand and turned to look at the big basin, still wanting to play. However, Tang Qian wouldn't take this boy with him because the fish smell would be everywhere. After Huo Yingzhe washed up, he saw his youngest son struggling to get to the basin. Huo Yingzhe usually doted on his children the most. When he saw that his son liked him, he would hug him. Seeing this, Tian was unhappy and said, let the children do whatever they want. Do you pamper your children like this? You didn't even look at how fishy the water was, so you quickly took them to the side and played with them. Go. When Huo Yingzhe saw what Tian said, he chuckled twice and started to hold the child away from the water basin and go there to lift it up. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 960. 958. After playing for a while, Huorufeng forgot about the big fish in the water basin and dropped the small wooden stick in his hand. When Huo Yingzhe saw his eldest son and his daughter looking at her younger brother with envy, he put the child into Tang Qian's arms and held his daughter up high. Although his daughter is older, Huo Yingzhe is also very strong and can definitely pick her up and lift her up. After that came Huoruwa, who was impartial and even hurt the three children. Tang Qian was convinced that he would learn from Huo Yingzhe in the future. After breakfast, Tian and Qi Zhenmin were packing vegetables. Qi Xiaoyan, Liang Hongyu, Aunt Lu, and Qi Daniu came over to help. With 3 tables of dishes, it was indeed difficult for Qi Zhenmin to count on Tian. Although it can be done, it will be very tiring for 2 people. Huo Yingzhe and Tang Qian were taking care of the children there, chatting with Grandma Qi San and Old Man Qi. Aunt Lu was beaming with joy and said, Tian, Yingzhe, this is the summer vacation. You guys stay here for a while. In half a month, it will be the day when the big girl gets married. Let's drink the wedding wine before leaving. Oh, is it settled? Liang Hongyu asked with a smile. Although that boy only has an old father in his family, he is really good to the older girl. Besides, they all teach in Kijia Primary School, and their family is settled in Kijia. Jiakan, it will be good to take over my old father when the time comes and see him in front of you. Aunt Lu nodded and said, yes, I didn't agree before, but the 2 children get along well, and we, as elders, can't beat each other. Besides, the boy is indeed a good man, and his father is also reasonable. We are old people and we can't be unreasonable, so we agreed. Tian listened in confusion and asked with a smile, big girl, is your partner really nice to you? Well, it's really good for me, Qi Daniu said with a smile. Originally, he could have stayed in the city, but he came to Kijia Primary School with me. I am very grateful in my heart. His mother died young, and only his father. We are both very nice people. We have been working for several years and have enough money to build a house in Kijia village, so we decided to get married. Congratulations, big girl, he Tian smiled. The children from Kijia Primary School are about to go to junior high school. Do so many children have to go to the county seat? Thank you, Sister Tian Chi Danio said with a smile. I am now the director because of my outstanding teaching. The school is currently applying to open a junior high school. Uncle Chi has been going to the county to go through the procedures. When the school starts, he will volunteer if you sign up. Whoever wants to stay at Kijia Middle School can stay. If not, they can be sent to the county town to study. I heard before that the results of Kijia Primary School are very good, better than those of schools in the county. It may also be good to run a junior high school in the future. He Tian smiled and said, nothing else. Donate books worth 50,000 yuan. Chi Xiao Yan listened and said, okay, I will also donate 50,000. Once you have earned money, you cannot stick to it. You must use the money to do good things, help others, and accumulate blessings for your own family. Qi Zhenmin smiled and said, then I will also donate 50,000 yuan for books. By the way, is the money for building the school enough? After hearing this, Qi Daniu said with a smile, that's enough. There are 2 factories in the village. Every year, a portion of the profits will be handed over to the county and distributed to the villagers. If we build a school, we will hand over less and distribute less to the villagers. Well, that's good, he Tian praised. Big girl, you are so awesome. Work hard and you will be the principal of Kijia Village School in the future. Chi Daniu nodded and said, well, this is my goal. By the way, Sister Tian, how long can you stay here? I really hope you attend my wedding. Without you, there will be no way there will be me now. Okay, he Tian smiled, I will naturally attend your wedding. I didn't know beforehand, otherwise I would have prepared gifts for you. Now I can only take the time to go to the city to see it. Sister Tian, it's good for you to come, nothing else is important. Chi Danio smiled, feeling very grateful to He Tian in her heart and would be grateful for the rest of her life. Hearing what Chi Danio said, He Tian looked at Chi Danio carefully. She had grown into a qualified people's teacher, and she was also a beautiful girl. She was no longer the yellow-haired girl before. Over there, Aunt Lu and Liang Hongyu went to clean the fish and meat, while Chi Daniu, Chi Zhenmin, Chi Xiao Yan and He Tian chose vegetables together. Daniu, tell me, what's going on in the village recently? He Tian smiled, looking at Daniu Chi with a sly look, wanting to hear the gossip in the village from the small speaker. On weekdays, Chi Daniu has to go to class and maintain her grace, so she rarely gossips in front of others, but in front of He Tian, she doesn't have so many restrictions. Big girl, tell me, we don't tell anyone else. Chi Xiao Yan was also curious. Her family didn't tell her about things in the village, and she didn't know much about them, so she couldn't satisfy her gossipy heart. Although Chi Zhenmin made no request, her eyes revealed her eagerness and she stared at Chi Daniu curiously. Actually, the village is not bad. With Uncle Chi in charge, those with evil intentions can't take advantage. Chi Daniu said with a smile, everyone is busy making money and living a good life, but no one commits any crime. The biggest one what happened was that accountant Chi's daughter Chi Zhenzhen took her twin sons and daughters to the city to find Li Mingkai, but Li Mingkai didn't want to recognize them. However, Chi Zhenzhen was also a powerful person. She made trouble in Li Mingkai's work and also went to that woman's work. After getting angry, Chi Zhenzhen took her children back to the village. Then what? He Tian asked, thinking that in her previous life Chi Xiao Yan could only jump into the river, and then look at Chi Zhenzhen, she is so amazing, if you don't let me do well, I won't let you do well either. Chi Xiao Yan is also very concerned. Then Li Mingkai was criticized by the work unit. As for the woman, she probably didn't end well. Some time ago, Li Mingkai came and asked Qi Zhenzhen to go to the work unit to explain to him, saying that it was just a simple quarrel between husband and wife, and there was no messy relationship between men and women. But Qi Zhenzhen he didn't believe Li Mingkai anymore, so he drove Li Mingkai away with a broom. He kept asking Li Mingkai to make a fuss when he had time, and wrote a report letter when he had nothing to do. Qi Dainio said in a low voice, although Qi Zhenzhen, that person is not a good person, but for a woman to be so strong, it's not bad. Yes, he Tian praised, for the sake of the children and family, Qi Zhenzhen did the right thing by picking up the broom and driving away the unfaithful man. With such a man, it is better to live alone. After that, Li Mingkai came with his family and wanted to pick up Qi Zhenzhen, mother and son. If it were before, Accountant Qi wouldn't have stopped him, but he knew that Li Mingkai was unreliable, so he took them away. The distance was so far, so he couldn't protect his daughter, grandson, and granddaughter. He scolded directly, Li Mingkai is our door-to-door son-in-law. This is my grandson and granddaughter. Even if they get divorced, they are also members of their Lao Qi family, and they are not surnamed Li Qi Niu said, that time it was a big deal. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 961. 959. Everyone listened with great interest and found it very interesting. Especially Chi Xiao Yan, who said enthusiastically, keep talking, big girl. Qi Daniu smiled and said, this time it was Accountant Qi who drove the person away personally. Later, I heard my mother say that Li Mingkai's family was not a good person either. When they saw that they could not take the children away, they asked for divorce and asked for money. It's shameless. Accountant Qi is not a vegetarian. He also has a daughter in the county. He immediately got someone to divorce him without giving Li Mingkai a dime, and Li Mingkai also had to pay child support. The alimony was not fixed, and as living standards improved, the money had to increase. Li Mingkai refused to accept it. Accountant Nhe was also ruthless. He secretly found a few unemployed vagrants in the county, blocked Li Mingkai and his family, and beat them severely. After a meal, Li Mingkai and his family left in despair. Good beating, he Tian said happily. Previously, Li Mingkai and Lin Ziru, a pair of bad guys, did that to Huang Jingli when they were in Nanji. Now that I see it, if you are really evil, you must be punished by evil people. The voice was a little loud, and everyone looked at He Tian. Haha, I just want to vent my anger. He Tian smiled, it's okay, it's okay. Sister Tian, if you knew Li Mingkai's mistress, you would feel better about beating her up, Qi Daniu said with a smile, waiting for everyone's urging so that she could continue talking. You can guess it. He Tian sneered, isn't it Lin Ziru? Ah, Qi Daniu was stunned, Sister Tian, do you also know about this? He Tian sneered, I didn't know about Li Mingkai's divorce, but when I was in Nanji, I knew that Lin Ziru and Li Mingkai were getting together. At that time, Qi Zhenzhen seemed to have blocked Lin Ziru and beat her severely. That's it. Qi Daniu nodded, no wonder you know, Li Mingkai is shameless, and Lin Ziru is really nothing. Yes, after Lin Ziru was admitted to college, she went to Huang Jingli and threatened Huang Jingli to give her money. If she didn't give her money, she would write a report letter, saying that Huang Jingli was not good and had a bad style. Fortunately, Kui Ying and I testified for Huang Jingli. It didn't cause a big incident. Later, Lin Ziru actually asked someone to write a big character poster to slander her, and even secretly blocked Huang Jingli and beat her up. Anyway, she did those shameless things again, and she didn't know that Lin Ziru was going to be expelled from the school. Lin Xiru hooked up with someone and was actually assigned to work in a county below Nan City. I really didn't expect that Lin Xiru and Li Mingkai were hooking up until now. Now that Li Mingkai is divorced, Lin Xiru will probably be able to get his way. Who knows, anyway, it's like a tarsal maggot. It can't bite you, but it's disgusting, He Tian said. Let's not talk about it. Is there anything else going on in the village? After hearing this, Chi Daniu's eyes lit up and she said, yes, this time it is not gossip in the village. It is a business matter in the village. I heard from Uncle Chi that he wants to rebuild the Shenlong temple on the mountain. Our village has always believed in the blessing of the Shenlong, everyone. They all agreed and voluntarily contributed money. Ah, Chi Xiao Yan was stunned. Isn't this promoting feudal superstition? Does the higher UPS agree? If the Shenlong temple were to be built alone, of course the higher UPS would not agree, but now Uncle Chi says that the back mountain of our Kijia village has beautiful scenery and can develop tourism to attract tourists. Chi Daniu said, originally, someone wanted to build a temple factory, but they were all stopped by Uncle Chi. He said that those factories were polluting and would not be allowed to open in our beautiful village. But Uncle Chi also said that if he kept blocking them, there would be no other way for the villagers to make money. As time goes by, someone will open a factory, so I took a step forward and applied to the county to join forces with 3 surrounding villages to establish a large village to develop tourism. This time everyone was surprised. The investment in tourism is very high, He Tian smiled, and with the current living standards, I guess not many people come to travel, right? Chi Xiao Yan smiled and said, there are usually quite a few. You have seen the small restaurants opened next to the market. Tourists usually eat there. It's just that there is no place to stay in the village for the time being, so we can only stay at the villagers' homes. Uncle Chi is preparing to build a hotel and restaurant. The beautiful scenery of the back mountain is one of the reasons. It can attract those who love beautiful scenery. Secondly, the hot spring in our back mountain disappeared inexplicably that year and reappeared some time ago. It's hot. Ah, Chi Xiao Yan was stunned. Is it the Songzi hot spring in the back? Yes, Chi Xiao Yan said. Uncle Shuming, who was in charge of the Daowin at that time, found out and immediately came to inform Uncle Chi. After a few of them took a bath, they said it was the same as before. If there is a hot spring, it can be made into a hot spring. Resort villa. That's great, I want to take a bubble bath too, Chi Xiao Yan said with a smile. It feels really good, Jinmin, it's a pity that you haven't taken a bath before. I hope that hot spring comes back and I take you to take a bath. Haha, it doesn't matter if you take a bath. If you still send your child to the hot spring as before, Secretary Chi will probably have a headache about family planning. He Tian smiled and said, thinking about those 2 or 3 years, most of them were twins. Even people like my mother, Wang Shuping, who were physically injured and could not get pregnant, got pregnant, which shows its effectiveness. Chi Daniu laughed and said, yes, so I am a little hesitant, but it would be a pity not to use such a good thing. Then I can only think of more ways. They were discussing the development of the mountain behind Kijia village, and the more they talked, the more excited they became. Especially Chi Jinmin, she majored in architecture and loved working on these things. I decided to go to the back mountain to have a good look when I have free time, and strive to provide a good and exquisite design to attract more beauty lovers to travel. Others only saw that the hot spring was a divine dragon appearing, but only He Tian knew that it was the Snake King practicing his martial arts. It's just that the Snake King has left a few years ago, passed through the 9 heavens mysterious thunder, tore apart space and returned to the demon realm. Then how could there be a hot spring in the big pool in the back mountain? The appearance of the hot spring made He Tian wonder, is the Snake King coming back? Is this a return in fine clothes this time, or is he unlucky enough to be injured again and hide in the human world? He Tian was a little excited, but she was more worried. It seemed that she wanted to work with Huo Yingzhi at night. See what's going on? Sister Tian Tian, what are you thinking about? Chi Daniu asked with a smile when she saw Tian Tian was distracted. Why is Sister Tian Tian distracted while she is talking? What comes to mind? It's okay, I just want to think about what kind of tourist area we can develop the back mountain into. Tian Tian smiled, but did not say the real reason. Cannon fodder war author, contradictory orange. Let's see how Tong Xinlan fights White Lotus, kills Green Tea, and punches scumbags when she travels to various worlds. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 962. 960. Today's birthday party was a success. The more famous people in the village and those who had a good relationship with Old Man Chi were all invited. Everyone wishes Old Man Chi good health and a long life. Grandma Chi-san was also very happy for Old Man Chi. So many people respected him. It was fitting that the old man was good to the people in the village. It is estimated that most of Old Man Chi's allowance was spent on children in the village who had no money to go to school. His hard work paid off, and he didn't have many regrets in his life. After the song ended and everyone dispersed, Old Chi's face was slightly red. Seeing Tian Tian and Chi Jinmin, he was very pleased and said with a smile, "Thank you for your hard work today." "It's not hard." Tian Tian smiled and said, "This is what we should do as juniors. Grandpa Chi, please go back to the house and rest quickly. Don't stand outside." "Okay, you guys should rest too." Old Man Chi smiled and went upstairs happily. The men who came to the banquet drank wine and went home to drink. The woman who didn't drink helped some people wash the dishes and clean up after the banquet, and then left after cleaning up. Everyone came over and brought some gifts, which were considered their own feelings. However, Old Man Chi didn't care about these external things. Since they were delivered, he kept them and gave them to others if they were not used up. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the house became quiet and everyone dispersed. Huo Ruwa was sleeping with Huo Rufeng. As for Huo Ruimin, Huo Ruwa went outside to play with Niu Da and Niu Er. If they were all children, Tian Tian wouldn't worry. Fortunately, Zhang Ning followed them to protect them. When they arrived at the village, the two children were like little birds out of their cages, running around all over the mountains and fields, all over the village. "You should also take a rest," Huo Yingzhi said softly. "Come on, take a nap." Although Tian Tian was a little tired, she had something on her mind but couldn't sleep. "Brother Yingzhi, I heard De Niu say that this spring, there will be hot springs in the big pits in the back mountain." Tian Tian said, "Do you know what is going on? Is the Snake King being attacked again? Is the person disabled?" "Haha," Huo Yingzhi smiled, "don't think blindly, there should be other things." Huo Yingzhi had already felt the ethereal heat in the cave in the back mountain before. It was because there was a magma vein underground, and heat seeped out of it, causing the water in that area to heat up. "But I always feel a little uneasy in my heart," Tian Tian said. "I hope something doesn't happen to the Snake King." Tian Tian has long regarded Snake King as a friend and family member, and does not want him to be harmed. Huo Yingzhi frowned. "That little snake shouldn't be that bad." "Okay, have a good rest. I'll take you to see him tonight." Huo Yingzhi comforted him, patting Tianatian's back gently with his big hand to help Tian Tian fall asleep as soon as possible. Even though he had something on his mind, Tian Tian got up early and was really tired after a busy day and fell asleep quickly. Huo Rufeng woke up, and when he saw his mother, he asked her to hold him. Huo Yingzhi quickly carried Huo Rufeng out to prevent him from disturbing Tianatian's sleep. Huo Rufeng felt aggrieved, looked at his father with big watery eyes, and accused him of his atrocities. "But when I saw my brother and sister running back from outside with flowers and a rabbit in their hands, my attention shifted to my brother and sister. We have only been here 3 or 4 days, and our 2 children were playing outside, and their faces and skin were all tanned. Is it hot? Huo Yingja asked, putting Huo Rufeng on the mat under the tree and holding towels to wipe his daughter and son's sweat. Dad, it's not hot at all. Huo Ruimin opened her eyes and lied. There was sweat on her face and body. She actually said that it wasn't hot at all. In order to go out to play, she told lies. They're all tanned. Huo Yingja felt distressed. I can't go out to play anymore. It's okay, Dad. Mom said I'm beautiful no matter what, and I'm not afraid of getting tanned. Huo Ruimin smiled proudly, very confident. Although she already had the concept of beauty and ugliness, compared with going out to play, she can forget about it. Yes, sister is good looking. Huo Ruwa agreed, and if you get tanned, you can turn white. Mom said that we need to play more and run more to stay healthy. Huo Yingja admitted that he was persuaded by his son and daughter. Okay, then you must pay attention to safety and stay within Uncle Jiangning's sight. Yeah, we've written it down. Huo Ruimin and Huo Ruwa nodded. By 5 o'clock, the heat had subsided, and everyone was eating watermelon in the yard. Tang Qian did all the small tasks like washing and cutting watermelons. In order to perform well, Tang Qian rushed to do things. Fortunately, Qi Jianmin was always by his side, which made Tang Qian even happier and particularly willing to work. At night, all three fell asleep. Huo Yingja set up a barrier and took He Tian Tian to the back mountain. First, I took a look at the big pits in the back mountain and reached down to try. It was indeed not as cold as before, but rather warm. It was indeed possible to take a bath or take a bubble bath. However, it has not reached the level of hot springs. Brother Yingja, this water is warm. He Tian Tian said. Where does all this heat come from? Of course it's from the ground. I've checked it out, and there's magma underneath, which dissipates some of the heat. Huo Yingja explained, so the water is warm, but it's not as hot as a hot spring. He Tian Tian was stunned and asked hurriedly, is there a volcano down there? Huo Yingja frowned, not knowing how to explain it. It was not a volcano. In fact, it was a furnace of elixir fire that he brought up from the ground when he was refining elixirs. Even if it leaked out, it would not form a volcano. Erupt. Don't you know, He Tian Tian was anxious, should we invite experts to take a look? It's okay, it's just the heat seeping out of the ground, not a volcano. Huo Yingja smiled, I guarantee that this place has nothing to do with the little spirit snake. Really? He Tian Tian was slightly reassured. Of course it's true. Huo Yingja said amusedly, I never lie to you. If you don't believe it, I can take you down to have a look. Go down. He Tian Tian was stunned, where are you going? The place where hot water was formed at that time was actually a long time ago. It was a cluster of fire brought up from the ground. It was used to make elixirs, but I sealed it up. As time has passed, there may have been a trace of leakage, but it will never be revealed. Will form a volcano. Huo Yingja explained, believe me, I won't lie to you. He Tian Tian was very interested and nodded repeatedly, okay, if there is no danger, you can take me to see it. That night, He Tian Tian had such a dream. She always felt that she was not only a spectator, but also the woman named Yunur.